Okay, Jace, just a little video recap from what we did in our session today, mate. Um, so let's, we pull Mac up. We kind of, let's start with the hand path, right, or what the butt of the club's doing up to the top, right. So we followed his hand path, and then as he's coming down, starts coming down this way. So you can see coming up. And then coming down, he's actually coming down a little bit more over the top with the handle, with his hands, right? But notice as well, and this is what we were talking about with regards to trying to get your right elbow a little bit more tucked underneath as you come down, right? And if we start you down, and we look at that position and we draw a line coming down your club, right? But then when you look at Max, you see how the club is just a little bit more behind him, right? So this is what we're talking about with regards to loading at the top, right? Before we start talking about your knee and your foot. Right, so what he's as the club, as he goes up to the top and the handle follows that route, and then he comes down over the top and the handle kind of comes down a little bit more over the top, you can see the club head actually shallow out a bit, right? So that's what we got, and that's why I'm always getting you moving in kind of slow motion, right, to try and get that kind of move. The feeling is that the club head's behind your hands all the way down to P6, right? All the way down to P6, and it's only past P6 that the club head actually starts moving back outside your hands. But also from P6, the hands now start moving round the corner. The hands start turning the corner, right? So definitely work on hanging out at the top, practicing that move at the top, and what we spoke about with regards to the pressure point in the trigger finger, right? Your trigger finger there, you're going to feel it. The more the club is behind you, right, the more the club head kind of shallows out and the shaft shallows out, the greater the pressure will be in that trigger finger, right? The first little joint in your trigger finger. Now, we were talking about just bunting some shots out there with a wedge, right? So really we're kind of working on stopping about there, right? Now this was a swing at the start of the session, but I just want to make you aware of where your hands are finishing and where the club's finishing, right? So a few things stand out to me there. Your heel has moved this side of your toes now, right? I want you to try and keep it behind your toes, right? That kind of look, right? Where it's behind your toes. But the other thing is, look at all this space underneath your left armpit when you finish, right? So, we're working hard on getting this elbow a little bit underneath. We're working hard on getting this club a little bit shallower, getting the club head more over here, building up the pressure. Building up the pressure in that trigger finger, right? So we can come down and attack it a bit more from the inside. We're also working on, actually practicing hitting shots on the range as if you were on the golf course, right? So hitting shots with your wedge just 120, 130, 140 yards away, and you finishing like this, right? That's kind of a little bit too long a swing for a wedge, and a bit too fast as well. So you look at Mac when he finishes here, and I pull Mac up because we were looking at his swing during the session as an example for the things that we're working on. But watch his left arm. Watch his left arm when he finishes here, right? So you can see the club's coming out underneath his left shoulder, and his hands are exiting underneath his left shoulder, just like yours are, right? But look at his finish here, right? So he's got his elbow the same height as his shoulder, and he's just got that L shape there, right? But the big thing for me is if he had a T-peg or a glove or something underneath his left armpit, right, he's still pinching it there when he's finishing, right? So he's kept his connection underneath his left arm. So he's kept his connection underneath his left arm, and his heel is still behind his toe, right? So that's the kind of look we want. You want to practice just hitting some easy wedge shots, some little punch shots with your wedge, your 9-iron, your 8-iron, really kind of, you know, practicing hitting golf shots into greens, right? The way that you play it on the golf course. You're not going to swing a pitching wedge full. You're not going to swing a pitching wedge at 100%, right? You're going to hit these little shots, these little manufactured shots, when you're out on the golf course, right? So that's the one thing that I want you to be aware of from the down the line view. The next one, what we spoke about, was a few things with regards to the knees, wasn't it? Right. So if you look there, this was your swing at the start of the session. You look at your knees. There at the start of the session with your in your backswing, and then now at the backswing, you know, towards the end of the session when we're working on it, when we're trying to put more pressure under your left foot at the top, right? Look at the difference in your knee angle now. So you've got a little bit, you know, your left knee's definitely coming in and down more, right? So your left knee's kind of working down and in a little bit more. And then you can get a bit more pressure under that foot, right? Under that foot. And then working on what we're working on at the top, right, with the club and your right arm a little bit underneath. At the start of the session, you were coming down and a little bit of disconnection there with the right arm, wasn't there, right? Whereas now when you're practicing it, look at the difference there. Right, very little space underneath this right armpit now, right? Your upper right, it's kind of like from your elbow upwards, the underside of your right arm's connected to your torso now, so that's much better. So then as you come down to P6, and we stop you there now, it looks like your hands are more over your right thigh, whereas before here, just a little bit shy, right? So all these things are really good, mate. I'm really happy with the progress that we're making in your golf swing. Just practice those few little things till the next session. And if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. Cheers, mate.